Good evening and salutations, my Days of Our Lives fans. Let's start with Sammy for a minute. I've been going about this whole Sammy thing this whole week, and just, been annoyed with her. I'll definitely sit there and say. And today is like she just decided to just hit peak. Because she acts like this ungrateful bitch to Lucas. And Lucas comes in and Lucas practically says like, yo, listen, I want to make sure you're okay. I thought he was going to kill you. He might have killed me. This delusional woman. First of all, she's like, oh, well, I should have let him do it. You destroyed my marriage. You ruined my marriage. Now, in this episode, you got Sammy and you got Nicole. And both of those idiots are constantly sitting there blaming everyone else for their marriage problems other than themselves. And that's what she does. She lashes out at him. And I'm like, Lucas, what the hell do you see in this woman? I know I asked this question a lot. But like, what the hell do you see in this woman? So after she somewhat calms down and, and now we get into, what I like to call a teachable moment. Ladies and gentlemen, please do not ever do what this woman was doing in this episode. Because after she finished tearing into Lucas, and Lucas, for some odd reason, is like, well, your marriage is over, maybe we can sit there and have a shot. This idiot was like, what makes you think our marriage is over? And this is where we get into the delusional part of the portion of her scenes. Because she still thinks that, they have a shot at trying to work things out. With someone that comes across as very cold, distant, and just, I don't even have a word to describe it. But I say that because do not ever, 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 ever debase yourself into trying to get back with someone who acts like that. Or acts like Sammy, for that matter. And that's literally what she does. She's like, oh, well, we can still work things out. And, he's passionate and I'm passionate. And it's just one of our many bumps in the roads or whatever. And I'm just like, is this woman serious? Meanwhile, you got EJ sitting there talking to Kristen. Just hella disrespectful. Basically sitting there saying just like it's over. And just the way he was talking about Sammy, very cold and everything else. It was just really nasty. But he did sit there and say that he has something in store for Sammy. And after he finished his phone call with Kristen, he comes in the room, and Sammy's like, because first of all, EJ's like, what are you still doing here? Sammy's like, oh, well, he was just leaving. Sammy, I don't think he was talking about Lucas. I'm pretty sure he was also talking about you, but okay, boo, you do you. So when Lucas is like, this isn't over for... I'm just not even going to tackle that today. When Lucas was like, this is all over, he left. And EJ comes to the room. EJ was sitting there, I guess he had like the necklace or whatever. He was sitting there thinking about it and thinking about when he first gave it to her. And he holds up the necklace. And he drops it on the floor like it's garbage. You know what this woman did? She bent down and picked it up. I was like, at that point, I was like, whatever ounce of respect that I had for this woman, which clearly was not a lot from the start, just went right out the window. Please don't do that again. And I know it just sounds dumb, but please don't ever sit there and stoop that low to want to be back with a guy like him. Or anyone like that. And this is for guys too. Don't ever try to be back with someone or try to get back with someone that will treat you like the bottom of what fell off of their show. Because that's what I saw in this whole scene. The fact that she picked it up. I didn't even have any words. I was just like, I'm sitting there trying to come up with words or new curse words or something. I was like, I'm out. Sammy, you managed to make me just draw a blank. She picked it up and she was all like, this isn't over. And she told, because, EJ's like, I want you going. But Sammy was like, this isn't your house. This is Gabby's house. And I'm cool with Gabby. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit there and talk to Gabby. And I'm going to stay. And we're going to sit there and make this marriage work. And you love me. And yada, yada, yada. And then she walks off. EJ looked at her like... Especially, it's really messed up when he had the chain, he had the necklace. He said, "Consider this payment served or services rendered." Basically, they're saying that, well, she was a whore. I don't have words for Sammy at this point. The respect is gone that I have for that character. The fact that he called you a whore to your face after he called you a whore to your face, he drops the necklace on the ground and you pick it up. Wow. So of course she goes over Gabby's place, knocks on the door. But before anyone can answer, somebody grabs her, chloroforms her, and drags her off to somewhere. Hopefully far, far away. And, of course, at this point, I think that might have been Allison's last scene. Because she's, going off the show for a little bit to kind of, I guess do more Hallmark movies or something, or Lifetime movies, or... Honestly, to tell you the truth, I'm not going to lie, they still kind of just... blur together. But I am planning on watching that movie that someone suggested to me. But yeah, it's her last day or whatever. And I'm just sitting there looking at this whole scene like, bye Felicia, bye. I was just done with Sammy at that point. I don't. Here's the thing. Okay, if you're a Sammy fan, if you are a Sammy fan, if you're still a Sammy fan after this, I generally want to ask why. I really do. I know I go hard on her just like I go hard on most characters. But I generally want to know if you're a Sammy fan, and if you are still a Sammy fan, how could, what makes you want to continue being a Sammy fan? Now, Nicole and Rafe are cuddling, he's holding her, he's comforting her. Ava walks in, looks at that, and is like, am I interrupting something? So I'm sitting there thinking, okay, this girl's about to go off. She's about to go off. She is tired of seeing this scene. She doesn't like it. She doesn't trust it. Nah, it's about to go down. But, that's when Nicole talks about, Sammy ruining her marriage with Xander and everything else like that. So, the fact that she was talking about her woes and her marriage troubles, or her marriage dissolve, or whatever you want to call it, Ava, I felt like she was going to come in with the heat. But the minute she started talking about, Eric leaving her and everything like that, it kind of died down a little bit. So after Nicole kept, talked about her marriage and everything like that, how it ended, Xander, all that stuff. Sammy, all of it. Even talks about her role and how she got back at Sammy and she didn't feel good about it afterwards. They were gonna, at one point, Ava was pretty much asking like, hey, listen, could you give me an interview at, at your company? And she said she would do it. But they didn't want to leave her, and so I don't remember which one. I think Ava was like, why don't you come with us to dinner or whatever. And then that's when Rafe was like, hey, listen, if you need anything, I'm always here. I'm one phone call away. I'm your friend. I always got your back, yada, yada, yada. Now, Ava just kind of sits there and looks at this like, yep, because that's what you do. You just, like, the look that she had on her face was a look of jealousy and anger. And the sad thing is that her jealousy isn't misplaced. I mean, Rafe has been skating his line with Nicole for quite a while, which was fine. But the minute he got involved with Ava, it's one of those things where it's like, alright, bro, you need to either let that die, be honest with her, or something. I mean, honestly, tell you the truth, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of expect a little bit better from Rafe out of all the characters. Because he seems like more of the, I guess, Boy Scout kind of guy, even though apparently he helped cover up a murder with Hope. Like, he actually helped cover up a murder. I can't get that thought out of my head. Like, this guy generally comes across as a Boy Scout, so the fact that he did anything illegal is just like, what? But he should have did a better job with Ava, and now he is just skating his line, and Ava is mad, jealous, and understandably so. The sad thing is that she confronted him the first time, and he was like, there's nothing going on between us. But you can clearly see at this point that there's something. So I guess my question is, how long is Ava going to sit there and bite her tongue? Gabby is pretty much celebrating with Jake about how she's planning on backstabbing Philip, because, let's be honest, that's literally what it is. And she talks about how she set some sort of software in Philip's computer, because when Philip was trying to use his computer, it was frozen. It finally started working, but that's what it was supposed to do. And Gabby's like pretty much the software is supposed to be able to spy on him and see what he does. This way they could sit there and wait, bide their time, and then when the time comes, they could sit there and just kind of take over and kind of push him out. And I'm just sitting there looking at this like, man, that is just so grimy. Like, the fact that she came... One second. The fact that she came home and just started gloating and laughing and celebrating how she's planning on, ousting Philip of the company after everything that Philip did is like, wow, really? I mean, not to mention not that long ago, Jake was more or less kind of just there telling her to kick rocks. Because, his feelings for Kate was so strong, even though he was pretty much lying to her as well. But just the fact that she's doing that and she's just so proud of it, it's like disgusting. It really is, on top of the fact that she tried to use him to get over Jake, and unlike most people would have been pissed off and kind of cursed her out, Philip was like, you know what, listen, it is what it is, and kind of just handled it in a more respectful way. And this is pretty much the thanks that he's giving. That he's getting. Nice. Now at one point, Jake is like, oh, well, maybe I could be CEO. What? What do you mean? What do you mean maybe you can be CEO? Even Gabby was like, yeah, you could, but you're not. And Jake was like, oh, well, I have experience being a CEO. Bro, you were there for like maybe, what, 2 months, maybe 3, max. You're gonna sit there and tell me that you think that you have more experience over Gabby, who ran her own like clothing line of her own company? Are you kidding me? The hell is your problem? I'm sitting up there just looking at this whole thing, and I'm like, you know, even though she's gonna be CEO, she's gonna probably treat you more or less like an equal. But for some odd reason, you want to be CEO because why again? And of course, you know, Jake is like, oh, well, I just have a problem with you being, you know, like working under you or whatever. Gabby was like, you never had a problem with Kate when you know, working under Kate or whatever. Like when Kate wasn't there running the business with you, you never had a problem with that. Like, yeah, it's different because. And I'm looking at this whole thing and I'm like, where did this whole little argument just... I felt like this just kind of came out of nowhere, like out of the clear blue. Now Jake is like, oh, I want to be a CEO because I was CEO for 2 months and I think I did a bang up job. Like, anyway, the fight doesn't, you know, the argument doesn't really last too long because they decide to just, well, have sex, and that's pretty much how you end arguments apparently. So, alright. Meanwhile, Philip, in the beginning was, well, I don't understand. I mean, yeah, he was being a dick to Chloe, but what it really came down to, because Chloe came in the office and he was very standoffish. He was like, oh, maybe you could sit there and just hang out with Brady or whatever, you know. And Chloe was like, what is going on? Because Chloe came over there to surprise Philip, take him out to lunch, bring some ideas, and just kind of, you know, hang out and spend time, you know. Just her way of, you know, saying thank you for helping me out. And this whole temper tantrum, because let's be honest, really came from the fact that Philip text messaged Chloe and Chloe never got back to him. And I'm like, whoa, hold on. Philip, we're going backwards now, bro. We're going backwards now. You're telling me that you got all heated, all angry and upset with her because she didn't text you back? Because she missed one of your texts? Are you kidding? What are you, 12? And then after Chloe was about to leave, you know, Phil was like, oh, okay, yeah, you know, I was just, you know, I'm sorry, you know, I should learn to grow the hell up. And I'm like, bro, you were doing so well. You just, like, leaped back, like, 5 steps. Like, this is where I get to the point of when I used to call him a man-child. Like, come on, bro, what are you doing? But he apologizes, and, you know, she apologizes for not texting him back. I'm like, you know what, listen, you said that you went home and you went to sleep. That means you didn't look at your damn phone. Things happen. Now, for me, you know, if I'm text messaging someone and she doesn't get back to me, maybe I may not be angry right away. Maybe I'll be more concerned. Because I'm sitting there thinking, alright, I texted you, you didn't text me back. What happened? You know? But anyway, the argument doesn't really last long. And of course, Philip talks about Lucas and what he did with Sammy and the letter and Nicole and everything like that. And Chloe's like, listen, I don't like Sammy. So, I'm not a fan of you doing, like, you know, whatever. But with her, she had it coming. So, I'm totally cool with it. I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, you know, Sammy does not get along with pretty much damn near anyone. I think the only person that seemed like they actually liked her or tolerated her was Gabby. Eric doesn't count because, well, they're siblings. Okay, I mean, hell, even John doesn't like her. So, and he loves Marlene. So that's saying something. How was I talking about? Oh yeah, Chloe. So yeah, Chloe had no problems with what he did, especially seeing how Nicole was all like sad and distraught after the whole Eric thing. So she was like, alright, cool, whatever, you know, calm her. Fine, it's all good. But she leaves because Lucas comes in there and, you know, he apologizes to Lucas for, you know, running interference and trying to help him out, and Lucas just basically like telling Philip what happened and everything like that. So I think that was pretty much about it. I don't think they talked about anything major. I think that's about it. It's so funny. I always sit there. I've been talking even to my GH reviews lately about Days, and this episode is still better than GH. I feel like GH has been dropping the ball, and I know some people don't watch GH, but GH was pretty much the show I've been watching since 2001, and GH has been dropping the ball lately for quite a while. When it's great, it's great. But lately it's been like... And even Monday, when Monday came, when Days came back, I was like, Days was fire this week. I'm like, GH, what the hell are you doing? Another good episode. Days... Days had definitely been picking up the slack for me as far as like watching these shows and stuff like that. I guess they got that renewal and it was like, you know what, let's kick it up enough. Let's make sure that we're doing a good job, and they have been doing a good job. Even when people get annoying like Ciara, it still wakes me up. It's funny because like even when characters kind of annoy me, like what the hell was her name? Chanel, the old Chanel, like she annoyed the hell out of me. But you know what? She made me feel something. And she didn't make me feel bored. I mean, I was annoyed at her, like, throughout most of her run. But in this weird way, I'd rather be annoyed because at least I feel something than feel bored. And just like, I got another 40 minutes to go. Anyway, with that being said, I'm going to go. I want to thank everyone for watching. Be safe. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. See you in the next video.